Hey everyone, it's Dr. Rick, and today's unboxing is going to be a combination of an unboxing and a tutorial. Those of you who follow me on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/herbal411, you know that I'm a big hiker, or at least I lead excursion groups to national parks. We're going to Colorado, and we're going to hit a couple 14ers this August. One of the things I discovered last year when I tackled a 14er was that my recovery rate was accelerated when I found a product in Colorado, this thing. And I'll put a link down below to the video I did, but the only problem I find in the state of Illinois is that as we're starting to evolve with the medical cannabis industry, I think the cultivators are doing a good job, but the topicals are a little bit deficient. I usually do unboxings, and these are some of the products that I have tried, but I have not had the same success as what I found in Colorado. And with some of my older patients who are a little bit cannabis naive, or at least they haven't tried it since the 70s, and back then it was only smoking, you have to be very careful about going to a dispensary. Even if you know your disease process and your symptoms very well, when you explain that to a bud tender, they might interpret it the wrong way, or they'll give you anecdotal information, meaning that they'll give you an honest opinion on what they suggest for other clients in the past. But take into account the majority of people that go to medical dispensaries in Illinois are usually recreational. So the interactions that bud tenders have is going to be on the recreational side. Some of them will have experience with older patients telling them stories about what has worked best for their aches and pains. And just the knowledge of what some patients continue to buy has their personal recipe. Now, whether they tell the bud tenders specifically what their disease process is, they probably don't have time. And as a medical doctor, I have patients with a diagnosis, with lab findings, with x-ray imaging findings, and with symptoms that I have seen reverse with certain protocols that I've put together. So at this point in time, although it's very individualized, it's still an ongoing experiment as far as the products and resources that are available in the state of Illinois and how to apply them to the individual. Now remember, every disease process, whether it's cholesterol or fibromyalgia or cancer, has a spectrum. So you have entry level and you have advanced. So the intensity of choices for ingredients in your personal recipe of cannabis products will vary from person to person. In addition, within that window of disease, everybody has a different recipe of their own prescription medicines that their specialists give. And it's up to the doctor to understand the prescription doses that they're on, the supplements that they're using, and the diets that they choose, and how that interaction might affect the dosing of your THC, CBD, and the other 144 different cannabinoids that are found in the medical dispensary. So you can see it's very complicated, but honestly, I want to make this very easy. And I think if you're just beginning, Topical is safe. So for today's unboxing tutorial, we're going to talk about a product that my team at Mix2UR came up with to give you more choices and empower you to control your symptoms. So let's get into it. These are containers that we sell at Mix2UR, and I'll put the link down below. Each of these containers essentially has DMSO. DMSO is a cream, and you apply it topically, but it acts a little bit different than a moisturizer. So when you apply it, it actually penetrates the skin and carries with it anything you mix into the container. Those of you who use compounded products from your doctor will actually call a prescription to a compounding pharmacist, and not all pharmacists do this. You have to have certification and training. These pharmacists will actually get sterile product as prescribed by the doctor and mix it into the vehicle to apply to the skin. So in the case of pain, somebody who can't tolerate swallowing pills, we can apply anti-inflammatories, muscle relaxants, and pain relief through the skin to locally affect an area of discomfort instead of swallowing pills. It's a novel approach to avoid the stomach, especially in musculoskeletal injury, but it also works with hormones in the case of low testosterone or low estrogen or low progesterone. They can actually apply the pre-calculated amount of the medicine onto their skin and still have a good blood level, effectively taking care of their symptoms and their disease process. So for my older patient, arthritis, fibromyalgia, chronic back pain, or my sensitive patient, like with leaky gut, leaky brain, I think this is a great alternative. The idea for creating this company came about after I summited a 14,000-foot mountain last year. And I thought I was done, and I had massage therapy, body work, hydrated, took some anti-inflammatories, curcumin, CBD, but I stopped by the dispensary and I picked up that CBD topical. And I tell you, after applying it about every 2 hours, the next morning, I was actually pain-free, ready to tolerate another attempt at a different mountain. And for an athlete that trains in Chicago to tolerate 2 mountains in the same trip, that was fantastic. My training in 2020 was pretty decent at the age of 58, but I wasn't ready for 2 mountains. And after I applied that topical, I thought, this is a great plant. I already knew the benefits of the medical cannabis plant, but when I woke up the next morning after applying multiple doses of the topical and I didn't have any pain, I thought we should have that in Illinois. So I went on to try several different products in Illinois to equal what I found in Colorado, and nothing really helped. And I don't know about marketing or if it's intentional, but I just decided I'm going to make my own stuff. I thought, as an older athlete, if I could tolerate 2 14ers in the same weekend, maybe my patients can take down the daily suffering so that they can participate in rehab and actually reverse their disease process. Basically, what you do is you take our product with DMSO and essential oil and you mix it in with the products you get from the medical cannabis dispensary. These 2 products are a bit different. This is a Rick Simpson oil, RSO oil. It comes in a syringe and it's very thick. You have to warm it up or put it into a microwave. I'll put a link to a video I did before with one of the other cannabis coaches. And then you put this into the container. This is my favorite RSO oil called Mag Landrace. It's more indica characteristics. If you've never used a Rick Simpson oil before, it comes in this syringe. It's very sticky. You have to heat it up because it comes out almost like a small snake, unless you heat it up in a microwave or roll it in your hands. And you put a desired amount into the container and you mix it up as best as you can. It's brown colored, so it does tint the cream nicely, so you'll be able to see if it mixes properly. But just full disclosure, this has a lot of THC. So theoretically, if this is your first time, it will get through the skin and you can potentially get psychoactive effects with it. The likelihood is low, but everybody can get affected differently. So if you're going to use it for, say, tennis elbow, apply it at night, see how it affects your pain in the morning, and also see if it makes you a little sleepy or high in the morning. If it does help your inflammation, good. But if it gets you super sleepy in the morning, then you might have to decrease the amount that you use. This is a little bit different from Spectra. It has high amounts of CBD and only a little bit of THC. But since it doesn't come as a Rick Simpson oil, it might be a little bit easier to push out. This is how Spectra's syringe looks. What I'm going to do is warm it up on my hands. I don't have a microwave available. Once you heat it up, it should loosen the oil so it's easier to push out. The plunger here is set at 1, but just to make it easy, I'm going to put the whole thing into 1 container. So the proper way to figure out your recipe is to know how much of the DMSO you have and how much of the oil you're putting in. I'm just going to make it easy because this is mostly just CBD. Do not expect any psychoactive effects. With this amount, it's TBD and that amount of THC. And then for the purposes of the video, I just want to dump all this stuff in. So you just push all this into the container and you see it's kind of sticky and slow, but I have 1 piece left. I'm just going to get that out. It's in there now. Oh, it looks like chocolate syrup. I'm going to use this to spin it around and mix it. You can see it just turns it a little bit darker colored. And it's important to mix up properly, thus mixture. Mix this evenly so it's 1 distinct color. It's important to mix this evenly like paint so it's just 1 color. So keep on stirring it up until it just becomes beige. Just like any other prescription medicines or controlled substances, do not let this get into the wrong hands. I'm about done. I don't want to waste anything, so I'm going to try to get this stuff off the syringe. Maybe next time I'll use a popsicle stick. The expression port at the top will sometimes have some cream in it, so before using it, try to tamp it down a bit so any of the cream that was still stuck in the port will come down and mix in with the rest. So you'll see that everything is even. The options on how to apply this are you can take the syringe, suck out a little bit of amount, put it on your skin and then rub it in. Or the other option is you push the plunger from the bottom and get it out like toothpaste, and then you rub it to the area, and my trigger point is to the trapezius, and you just apply. It's also important to remember that when you apply this and you have a pet or you have a loved one that you hug or a baby that you hug, you can potentially rub it onto the other person or the other animal. Be cautious, cover up, and then wash your hands afterward. So if you're trying to decrease inflammation, my suggestion is you buy 1 jar and you experiment with 1 product and you apply it several nights in a row just to look for side effects. And if you have no side effects, then you can go 3 times a day to the same area and you keep on going until you're finished with the product. And you compare one side to the other side and you see if it made a difference. The other application that I sometimes get my physical therapist to try is we use the product before going to physical therapy where they can accelerate penetration using ultrasound. So in other words, if you have an area that we're working on, you apply the cream and then they put on an ultrasound machine that penetrates even faster and deeper. But it has to be approved by your physical therapist and I have to talk to them. Hopefully our product gives you more control of your pain, more options for movement, and maybe less need for prescription medicines. Thank you for watching up to this point in time. Check out our other products on Mix2UR. I'll put the link down below. We're in the pre-order phase for fall of 2021 and spring of 2022. If you know anyone who's suffering, please share this with them. Otherwise, don't forget to like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you at the next video.